you're still here on Girls Night In, and as promised, I do have a phenomenal woman in studio, and her name is Angela. How are you, Angela?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So, Angela, let's get, the brief nitty-gritty out the way. Who are you? Where are you from? And how's it like growing up as Angela?
Well, Angela is from PE, so I was born and raised here. My parents are Portuguese, so I've got a couple of, extra language bases as well, so that helps. Grew up in PE, as I've said. I'm 33 at the moment, so so I've done quite a bit. Done the overseas. Yes, I'm 33.
You don't look 33.
It's the yoga. So I've done the overseas thing, got back, did the whole going around, been teaching, taught English in Spain, did the usual. I was collegiate.
Okay.
Awesome school. However, I'm just not someone who likes sitting in borders and being told exactly what to do. Fantastic. Grew up and
great
learned,
for the people who like it.
And I learned a lot about myself. So it was a fantastic background to have. Basically, I just try and get as involved as I can with things with regards to people and stuff. I'm very much someone who likes...
You're a people's person.
Yes, definitely. I think from the age of 5, I probably knew I was never going to be a 9-to-5 kind of person. I just don't like being boxed in as much as... Unless it's something where I know I'm helping other people. And, I studied psychology as well, so I've always had that, like almost invested interest in wanting to know what people are about and, where they come from.
Human interaction.
Exactly, which kind of comes through in my yoga sometimes, because I'll often have people come after class and they just will tell me things, and then they'll be like, I can't believe I just told you. So I obviously have this kind of aura that lets people just know that they can trust me, which is very true.
Good thing you studied psychology then.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so then how did the yoga come into play? Because as you mentioned, you studied psychology, and then obviously after school.
Yeah.
Did you go into psychology a little bit, or?
I went, not too far. I went as far as my honours year, but then I didn't do the break of going overseas straight after high school. So it was kind of like, okay, 4 years of studying, because honours is like 4 years, and I was like, I needed a bit of a break. So took some time off, did the waitressing thing for a while, then I eventually went overseas. But the interest in yoga was sparked when I was at varsity. I think it was my 3rd year of varsity, where the gyms around here had a fantastic special for the students, so I joined. And there'd be 2-3 classes a day, and I was privileged because of the psychology classes that I had. A lot of the classes were doubles, so I would sometimes skip one of the classes or choose the class based on the yoga class at the gym. I would sometimes participate and attend the class with the part-timers just so that I could make a yoga class. So my schedule was highlighted yoga, highlighted Psych 101, So, and that's where the interest started, and it was amazing how quickly your body adapted to certain things, but at the same time knowing that there were things that my body wasn't going to get that easy, but it is challenging. You kind of have to go, it's not about what you're doing now.
Because, you go into yoga, people have these thoughts about yoga that they see on TV, it's this glamorous thing that people do, only the rich and famous do, because mostly when you see it,
Madonna and all of them, yes, I know.
So what is yoga really? What is it all about?
Well, yoga is basically, if you go through the whole spiritual side of it, it's basically just in tuning your body with your spirit and your mind, and everything just being together at one point. And for everyone, it's a different thing. I often tell people, yoga might not be the thing for you. Maybe for you, listening to music or reading a book by the sea is your yoga, so to speak. So everyone is different. But sometimes people like physically you almost need to physically be relaxed. And there are completely different styles of yoga. If you Google it, there's always a new style coming up. And there's always a new pose, and there's always something different. So, which is awesome about yoga. There's no... people think, you got to stretch and touch your toes. But then once you touch your toes, you want to get your hands behind your feet. And then there's always another step. So it's definitely something that is a journey related and not an actual destination. You're not reaching a point. And I find it's an awesome metaphor for life as well. Because we're all thinking, got to get that, matric. But then after matric, then you got to go to varsity. Then you got to get this. And then it's married. And there's always another goal. And those goals are great because they give you something to reach for, but then after that goal you always want to go a little bit further. Exactly. So, and yoga is very much like that. I promise you, there is no pose.
It's like another world on its own.
Yeah.
And it's like another world on its own.
And it's very relaxed. And I must say, okay, the type of yoga I do, I'm fully aware of the whole the Indian philosophy and the Sanskrit and all about that, because that was introduced to us during our training. I don't focus too much on it, only because you do get people in this day and age that still think, okay, yoga, is it going against their religion? Is it something like that? I mean, I'm a Christian, I'm a practicing Christian. Exactly.
From people, they think it's a whole other religion.
Exactly, and they're worried they're going to do something that's they're going to pay back for it later. But I try and keep things as neutral as possible, and for me, I want everyone to be able to come in the class. I don't want a Jewish person and a Muslim person not feeling they can be in the class. I want everyone to feel that they can be in that class.
Okay. And tell me about your classes. You're a yoga instructor, obviously, and you instruct for HaloYoga. How did HaloYoga begin, and what's it all about? Take me through the process.
Okay, HaloYoga started, as I said, about a year ago, but I had been teaching at the gyms for about 3 years before that already, so which was a great.
So she has experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to just go straight. And PE is one of those places where you've got to kind of build a name, so to speak, before you go out. Yes, so it did help, because once I had people from the gym and they knew me, then it was easy for them to refer their friends and family who weren't gym members but who just wanted to do yoga. So it grew in that line.
Okay.
And the whole HaloYoga, a lot of people ask, is that the style of yoga? It's not the style of yoga. It's just, I just like the name Halo. I mean, I don't know, Angela, the angel, whatever, circles, it comes together, everything, So it's just, for me, it just, I don't know, resonated something in me that made it feel like that's the name I wanted to go with.
Okay, awesome. So you've been doing it for just a little bit over a year now with HaloYoga, and you first started off in a smallish kind of studio, and now you've moved on into a bigger studio. Tell me about the kind of clientele that you have coming in. I mean,
clientele, everyone. It's like completely different. I mean, different ages. Guys can also come. That's the one thing most definitely. Guys can definitely come. Yeah. Specifically, the style of yoga that I do is very much. It's very physical. So the guys they come in thinking it's all airy-fairy, and then they leave completely soaked because they broke a sweat completely. So they really feel.
Who tends to adjust more easily, male or female?
The females, only because we're less competitive. I'm not saying we're not competitive, we're just less competitive. Guys can sometimes get there and they're like really frustrated, and you kind of have to remind them you're here to de-stress, so it's like But it's just by nature, guys are just competitive, and also some of the poses are physically demanding. I mean, there's like planks and things like it, so they feel like especially if they see a female doing it and she's doing it really good and they're like struggling, it's kind of I think on that level, it makes them feel a little bit more frustrated, but it's inspiring. Yes, it's inspiring. Yeah, because then in their mind it's like, well, if a chick can do it, then I should be able to do it.
What is it about yoga, Angela, that just the one thing that stands out about it for you?
For me personally, I mean, as a yoga instructor, I think it's amazing how people react to it, and how everyone is completely different, and how everyone reacts to it differently. And I find, I've had a lot of ladies come in with physical issues, low back issues. I mean, some of them were, in the next couple of months they had to go and have an operation if they couldn't, fix whatever the problem was that they were experiencing, and coming back to me going, oh my gosh, I'm so much better, or I've gone from 5 painkillers a day to like 1 a week kind of thing. So, and I mean, it's amazing. You kind of like, it doesn't put you on this like like major high or something. You just know you are helping people, and for me, that is like very important to me. It's just always been. It's very much my purpose here is to try and help people, whether it's to talk to you, tell you what it is, tell you how to breathe, how to relax, release your lower back tension, whatever it is. If I can assist you,
yoga is there to help. Okay, cool.
So it's definitely.
So Angela, when you went into yoga, because obviously you study psychology, what was the response from people around you, like your friends, family? Like, what did they think about that? Like, because it's not quite usual,
Look, it isn't. I'll tell you a little story. When I was in the UK, when I lived in London for a while, and I met my best friend, Prav, and we were joking the one time, and this was years. This was like at least about 4 or 5 years before the idea of even, and I joked to her and I said, maybe one day I'll become a yoga teacher, and it was this complete joke, and I promise you, the way I said it compared to knowing that I'm doing it now, it was as if like it's like two different people. I can't relate that those two people were the same person. But obviously, I put something out there, and
the universe responded.
Yeah, exactly. on some level, although it took years, and I think that's the thing, you know, we've got to realize in life. And I mean, I'm doing this now. It's not to say it's the be all and end all of me. I mean, this can lead me to other things, which is how life happens. You know, that left me to this and led me on to the next thing.
Which is also, funny enough, ironically, like yoga.
Exactly. But you know, that's why I keep saying, like, yoga is such a metaphor. I mean, you learn one pose, which leads you to be able to do the next pose. You know, so it's like, life is so much like that.
Wow.
And you get those obstacles and those frustrated, you know, physical limitations, as well as you get in life limitations. So, you know, so it's amazing how, you know, like I look at myself and I'm like, you know, that was like some 26-year-old had no idea what she was going to do with her life, and then you've learned. I still laughed about it. It was like, so, right, you know, like really, that's going to happen, kind of. So it was.
I'm very pleased that you ended up
me too.
So Angela, if people want to get into contact with Halo Yoga and want to actually participate in the classes, how do you go about that? Do you have like maybe an email address or even a Facebook page?
I do. I have a email address is haloyoga@gmail.com. So halo, Halo, and then yoga, YOGA @gmail.com. And then the Facebook page is the same, Halo Yoga Studio. So it's very easy to find it.
Thank you so much for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
And I wish you all the best.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
That's it from Angela from Halo Yoga, guys. You heard the Facebook details, and of course the email address is haloyoga@gmail.com. I'll see you in a bit. Don't go anywhere, because we do still have more right here on Girls Night In. Don't go anywhere.